we are not moving forward with the fund, period. The reasons for the fund is something that President Trump talked about for a long time, which is the fact that there were a lot of people in this country who had their government weaponized against them. The reasons for the fund, I think, remain as important as they were before, but we are not moving forward with the fund.
That's Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche confirming the Justice Department will not move forward with the proposed $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. Blanche says while the fund is off the table, the part of the settlement preventing the IRS from retroactively auditing President Trump and his family will remain in effect. The House and Senate now working to pass Republicans' immigration enforcement bill after missing the president's June 1st deadline. The fund, a major point of contention, getting in the way of getting that legislation over the finish line. Joining me now is New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What are you expecting here? I mean, if Republicans have the votes to move this forward today, Democrats will likely use a vote-a-rama to test unity in the GOP and come up with new amendments. How do you think this plays out?
Well, look, Maria, what needs to get passed is the funding for ICE and CBP. That has been a priority given what the Democrats did, shutting down the Department of Homeland Security for 118 days going back to October 1st, which is absolutely insane. But we need to get that across the finish line. And obviously, Democrats are going to throw amendments into the mix and try and divide the party. But I think it's imperative that we get this done within the next week or so. And make sure that these departments are fully funded. So
what happens next? I mean, do you expect that other priorities will go in another reconciliation package, or do you think that time is limited and that it's unrealistic?
Look, I've said from the beginning, I think time is very tight. Is it impossible? No, but certainly there are a number of things that we are focused on, including the bipartisan housing bill that passed the House just 2 weeks ago with overwhelming support, 398 votes. And we have a permitting reform package that needs to get across the finish line, appropriations that are being taken up. So there's a lot that we're dealing with, the NDAA, FISA, all of these bills we want to get done, before the end of the year, and that does take floor time. And the Senate, obviously, is even more difficult, notoriously, in terms of getting these things across the finish line. So is it impossible? No, but is it realistic? Probably not.
Probably unlikely. All right, let's talk New York, because Mayor Zoran Mamdani reportedly igniting a civil war after endorsing Daraliza Avila Chevalier for New York's 13th congressional district. The self-described Democrat socialist reportedly deleting a social media account where she supported abolishing the police, abolishing prisons, borders. She wanted to seize private property, and she questioned Israel's right to exist. Meanwhile, Citadel founder Ken Griffin is set to see an increased tax bill. Him, along with other high earners, are going to get the impact of Mayor Mamdani's pied-à-terre tax on second homes. That's set to take effect July 1st. Griffin, apparently, with this, would reportedly owe up to $1.5 million more in taxes next year under this new policy, Congressman. Your thoughts on this? Because Florida lawmakers are adding property tax cuts to the November ballot. Ron DeSantis told me all about it on Sunday. And, he made the point that this is about managing budgets because the budget of Florida is still smaller than all of New York City. Watch this.
So our budget in Florida with 23.5 million people is less than the budget of New York City, which, has 8 million people. It's a big city, but a lot less than the whole state of Florida. New York State's budget is well over twice as large as Florida's budget. I think New York's budget's like 260, 270 billion. Our budget has been basically around 117 billion, give or take a little bit, for the last 4 years. And so we have, I think we have 4 million more people than New York State does now. New York used to have a lot more than Florida, and so we're doing it. And we have either the lowest or second lowest per capita spending of any state in the country. And one of the things I'm proud of is that if you take all of Florida's debt that we've accumulated since statehood in the 1840s, just since I've been governor, we've retired 50% of that debt through our aggressive debt repayment policies. So it can be done. And I think what happens is when you do it right, when you respect taxpayers, it creates a good harmony in the economy where people are more apt to want to come here. They're going to be more apt to invest here. And then you can even lower tax rates. I think the New Yorks of the world, they're in a vicious cycle. They have a shortfall. So they go back and try to jack up taxes. That causes their economic base to constrict because people react negatively to it. Then they got to go back to the well again. Well, you can't keep doing that vicious cycle.
And we see that cycle throughout in New York as well as California and other high-tax Democrat states. Congressman, your reaction?
Well, the best real estate agents in Florida are Kathy Hochul and Zohran Mamdani. They are driving people out of the state of New York because of their high tax and spend policies. New York State just passed a $268 billion budget. They increased taxes in this budget, despite saying that they are focused on affordability. The numbers just came out from the Treasury Department, and 97% of Americans saw a tax cut under the Working Families Tax Cut bill. And in my district in particular, they saw a massive tax cut because we were able to lift the cap on salt to be able to deal with New York's high taxes and try to provide real relief to hardworking and middle-class families. The reason Zohran Mamdani is supporting socialists across the board is because they fundamentally believe this is their moment. I mean, last night in New Jersey, you have an avowed socialist, squad-backed member who was a defense witness in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, who has ties to al-Qaeda, and he is now on his way to becoming a member of Congress. These are the people that they are running. These are the people that they are trying to elect. And frankly, the Democratic Party is putting forth candidates who do not share the values of the American people when it comes to capitalism, when it comes to Western democracy, when it comes to the Judeo-Christian values that are at the foundation of our nation. So this is a big battle that we are waging in November. So buckle up.
It's pretty incredible. I want to know how you expect the Republicans to do. I mean, you've got New York Democrats right now finalizing plans for a state constitutional amendment to overhaul the redistricting process as well. This effort could help Democrats flip as many as 4 GOP-held House seats, Congressman. You're launching a counter-campaign against it. And I know that we just came off of a period where Republicans seem to be in a better position post the redistricting rulings. Tell us more.
Well, this is New York's 4th attempt in 4 years to gerrymander its congressional districts. Remember, Maria, New York started this effort. New York is the one that did mid-decade redistricting last cycle. They did it in 23-24. Hakeem Jeffries had a political hack bring a lawsuit so that they could get a court order to force a new map. They picked up 4 seats. As a result, they now want to come back for an additional 4 seats because it's not good enough in New York to have Republicans only at 7. They want to knock us down to 3.
Wow. Congressman, we're going to be watching all of that. We so appreciate you trying this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mike Lawler joining us. We'll be right back.